Survival is Hell, Not Magic by Dark0592. Chapter 10. The Beginning of the End, Rest.
She's back.
Starswell said a few moments before the door opened to reveal Twilight. The 10 people looked at her. They were all silent.
Oh, you were out for so long,
Fluttershy said.
3 hours isn't much. I wanted to make an unusual stop on the way,
Twilight said, placing a few bottles of wine and glasses on the big table between all the clutter.
Wine, darling?
Rarity asked.
Yes, 2-century-old wine,
Twilight replied.
Forget the wine. You need to tell us why you're like that, and why you don't just leave the barrier,
Dash yelled. Twilight didn't respond as she used her magic to pour a bottle and a stream into all 11 glasses and float them over to everyone. They accepted the gift, some a bit hastily, and waited for an unseen sign.
I'll answer any questions I can,
Twilight said after taking a small sip from her glass and sitting on the counter.
I've never seen anyone fight like that in my life, and I've seen the princesses fight a few monsters.
The lieutenant of the guard with them said,
Well, you should know, I was in the guard for 3 years, and you were my superior, Blue Steel. I was a few ranks up from Corporal First Class during the riots in Manhattan,
Twilight said.
I remember now. But what you did was a lot different than brawn with a riot shield and blunt spears in a crowded street,
the lieutenant retorted.
You pick up a few things in my situation,
Twilight simply answered.
I have a few questions. First, why didn't you leave the barrier? Second, how the hell did you lose 2 arms and a leg? And third, how and where did you get a surgeon to get those wings?
Dash said.
Dash, my blood is acid, and I've changed a lot. I don't think I'd be accepted outside of the barrier, so I decided I'd try to survive and maybe find out what happened exactly. I lost my right arm day 1 because I passed out halfway in a pool of acid, and I lost my other arm and leg because I teleported halfway into a wall. As for the surgeon, you're looking at her,
Twilight answered.
Excuse my language, but who in the high hell is that purple guy that led us here?
Applejack asked.
Oh, sorry for not introducing myself. I used a lot of energy in that fight, so I was dormant after I gave you the food.
Starswell's voice came from his fear as it slowly floated from the grove and the wall next to the bedroom.
This is Starswell the Bearded. I found out that the toxin sort of animates the dead, but only if their body was intact,
Twilight said.
In essence, I've observed with my magical sight that the toxin kills those mutations' bodies, but keeps the mind barely alive. Strong magic, like what Twilight and myself possess, nullify the brain damage, and I believe it was her connection to an ancient power, the element of magic, that nullified the effects on her body, and instead enhanced them. I was just a strong mage, and my body was decayed and poisoned when she found me.
Starswell exclaimed.
Zombies?
Spike said lowly.
Wait, so only the 6 of us could really survive that stuff?
Pinky asked.
Not exactly. You do know that everyone has a strong connection to magic. Normal people don't know how to tap into it, and instead boost their strength and energy. Mages learn how to tap into it and use this magic. The Wonderbolts and other people who enjoy flight know at least a bit of magic. Is that correct, Miss Dash?
Starswell replied.
Yeah, wings have become popular among the mage teams running the weather. I only have one more question, Twi,
Dash said.
Go ahead,
Twilight said with a smile.
Will you come back home once this is all over?
Dash asked. Everyone looked from Dash to Twilight with a hopeful look in their eyes.
Of course. I've toughened up, so if anyone thinks I'm a freak, can just keep on thinking that or get kicked out,
Twilight answered with a smile. The 5 friends exclaimed and glomped the girl along with Spike. The 4 guards shook her hands with smiles and she managed to regain her footing.
Right. We've all got to be up and moving at 10 in the morning at least so we have time to eat and make our way to the lake on the edge of the barrier feeding the river and clear it out by noon.
Twilight said. Sugar Cube, I seriously doubt this place can even hold 11 people comfortably to sleep. Applejack said.
I built this place from scrap metal. I think I know how to move it around a bit.
Twilight said with a giggle as she snapped her fingers and the large tables and all the clutter moved to a corner of the room. The racks and the tables under them stayed though.
All right. I used to go through sleeping bags like crazy because my gear and stuff had sharp edges, so I've always got a bunch of them. If memory serves, I've got 6 of them. Some of you would have to double up.
Twilight said as she opened a hatch near her bed and pulled out a stack of sleeping bags with her magic. There were indeed 6. Pinky and Dash, as well as Applejack and Rarity and Spike, and any one of the 2 female guards agreed to double up. This left the last 3 remaining guards who took the last 3 bags. But Fluttershy was too shy to ask to double up with one of them since she didn't know any of them.
It's okay, Fluttershy. It took a lot of courage to fight today. You can take my bed,
Twilight said.
Oh, no. I can't take your bed. Where will you sleep?
Fluttershy said.
The bed is big enough for 2 to be comfortable. I might not even sleep tonight. I'm not tired right now,
Twilight said with a smile.
Wouldn't Celestia be a bit jealous?
Starswar's voice said suggestively. Twilight sent a magic spark through the sphere in the wall and rolled her eyes.
Oh, I guess that's fine. I haven't seen you in a long time, and we're best friends,
Fluttershy said. Twilight smiled and slid open the hatch for her bed.
Go on. Don't worry, everything's clean and comfy,
Twilight said with a smile. Fluttershy nodded and got under the covers. Once she was settled, she went around asking everyone if they were fine as well. Spike and Dash made a compliment implying similar things as Starswirl had, but she just ignored them and made sure the door was locked. She levitated over pillows from the previous hatch as needed and even created one out of magic when she ran out.
Good night, everyone. I'm going to cast a sleeping spell on everyone so we all get a good night's rest. May Luna watch over your dreams,
Twilight said before casting the spell before anyone could protest. Twilight climbed into the bed with Fluttershy and smiled at her friend before turning the opposite way and using some magic to turn the lights out. Everyone awoke at the same time to find Twilight making adjustments to her limbs. Dash and Pinky found themselves much closer than when they fell asleep, but from what Twilight heard, that was normal.
What are you doing?
The lieutenant asked.
Cleaning and adjusting. You know, when you hit a wall or something, it jars your arm a bit,
Twilight asked. He nodded.
Well, when it jars for me, it stays slightly jarred until I adjust it. And let me tell you, using that shield smash I started with last time knocked my left arm an inch out of its socket,
she continued.
I'm still amazed you have all this technology, darling,
Rarity said.
Well, it's mostly because of my magic. We've accomplished so much with it. I use magic to activate otherwise unreachable effects, and I use magic to connect my nerves and everything,
Twilight said.
So what time is it?
Spike asked.
5 till 10.
Twilight responded, clenching her left hand a few times before standing and stretching.
I'll prepare the meal.
Starswirl said, purple magic tendrils moving from his own will-mounted sphere.
Thanks,
Twilight said as she opened the door.
Where are you going?
Dash asked.
I'm going to go scout out a route for us to take. I can avoid those things very easily by myself, but with all of us, we'd have to fight, and I'd rather not have to spread us out too thin or too cramped going through alleyways and stuff. I'll be back in half an hour,
Twilight said and closed the door.
Oh, she forgot her mask again.
Starswirl sighed.
Why does she need it?
Dash asked. Starswirl answered by sending a blast of slightly cooled steam into her face, blinding her and causing her to cough a few seconds.
The fuck, dude?
Dash yelled.
That's why she wears the mask. You're not dead from that, but it reduced your vision and clogged your throat, did it not?
Starswell said.
Point taken. But if you do something like that again, I'll kick your round ass around the room.
Dash threatened.
Dash? He can turn into a giant dragon and a manicore. I think he can handle a pissed off woman.
Spike said.
I'd listen to him.
Starswirl chuckled. Hey, Starswirl, what's with all this? The lieutenant asked, pointing to a wall filled with Royal Guard armor and weapons.
She likes to experiment with things and see if they work on her or not. If anything fits you, be my guest. She was going to give him to the guards that came to clear the city anyways.
Starswirl said. Interesting. The lieutenant said as he looked at a helmet modified to be slimmer without the Spartan-like top to it and have a face mask fitted with a gas mask.